Hey friends, it's Alex from Vulture Culture, and today I'm going to be showing you how to turn a delay plugin into a vocoder. Before we get started, please like this video if you find it helpful, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, as well as my band Vulture Culture's music. So let's get started. The song we're going to be using for this video is called Cyberpunk. It's a song I did in 2009 or so. It wasn't released on my record Pop Icon because I just didn't feel like it quite made the cut. But it's kind of useful for demonstrating here. So on the verse here, and I guess you could call it the chorus, I'm doing sort of a drone with my voice, so let's listen to that.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades, so give me control and I will show you how to play.
All right, and in the original track, what I had was also, this was fed into a vocoder, and that vocoder was layered with my vocals to give it a sort of robotic sound to match the sci-fi dystopian atmosphere of this song. So what I've done is I've just duplicated the clean vocals here.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The night.
And I'm going to load Redelay, which is Reaper's stock delay plugin, but you should be able to do this with whatever delay plugin you have, as long as it's capable of doing so. So if I just play this now, you'll hear
the overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Kind of a typical delay sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to zero this out. Now, if I play this back now, it should just be an exact copy of the vocals.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
So it's just making it louder because it's the same thing. So I'm going to disable the dry signal being the undelayed signal. If I increase the feedback, nothing will happen.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
Now, if I delay this slightly, let's say by 0.1 millisecond, you won't be able to hear a difference if I play it by itself.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
But if I play it back with the dry signal,
the overdrive, the way it sets me free.
You can hear some very dramatic phasing, and if I move this a little further,
the overdrive, the way it sets me free. The overdrive, the
some
way
really
it sets
weird
me free.
sound effects.
The nightlife and the violent.
This is called the Precedence effect. It's what happens, it's a psychoacoustic effect. It's what happens when you have a very short delay between an original signal and something else. You get this weird phasing effect, but somewhere between, I don't know what it is, 25 milliseconds to 50 milliseconds, your ear starts to pick up that it's a copy and stops processing the sound as one sound, but as two separate sounds. So you'll hear it in a second if I move this time.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent.
Now it's starting to sound like a stutter.
You are afraid behind those mirror shades, so give me control and I will.
And somewhere around there, it starts to sound like slapback delay instead of processing the signal by itself. So let's bring this back down to a low amount. Now, if I remove the dry signal entirely again, but I increase the feedback.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades, so give me.
Now it's starting to ring in a sort of way that's reflective of how it's phasing. So if I increase this a bit.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Now it's starting to take on kind of an electronic vocoder type sound to it, and as in somewhere in between, in this precedence effect where it's slower than these really annoying grating short times, less than a millisecond.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Doesn't really sound like a much of a vocoder, but as we go higher, maybe closer to 20, 15, somewhere in there.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are.
So it sounds very vocoder-esque, which is an interesting thing. Now, this song is in C minor, and I can pull up this chart. It's on sounddoctor.com/freak.htm. So we have C here, and I'm going to look for, we have the number of milliseconds. These are I don't know, even smaller than milliseconds. 1.9, 3.8, 7.6, 15.3, and 30.6. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 15.3 in here. And now the vocoder is in key with the song.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
And I'll just play it back with the vocals here so you can hear.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are...
Alright, so that's pretty cool. Now what we're going to do is hit add tap. And when you add tap in redelay, it just makes an exact copy of that. And we're going to load in the 30.6. And I'm going to solo this just so you can hear what this one sounds like.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the...
So you can hear that this is starting to break up. If I added another one and I did 61.2, now it's past that sort of threshold of the precedence effect, and it's going to start to sound more like a slapback delay.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Which isn't that useful for what we're doing. So I'm going to delete that tap, but I'll leave this one in. So we have both of these playing back at the same time.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
So it kind of sounds like a vocoder that's being played in octaves, which is how I did it on the original track. So once again.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
So it's pretty good, but it's not exactly like you could stop here and use this type of sound for something. I'm going to add the JS distortion effect that comes in Reaper, and as I increase the gain here, we'll get some kind of nice distortion.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades, so give me control and I will show you.
So without it.
The overdrive,
with
the
it.
way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades.
And I just wanted to add a little bit of saturation there because vocoders tend to have a very kind of flat sound. They're not very dynamic. Whereas since there's no true vocoding going on in this, it actually needs a little bit of tightening. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load Reaper's default pitch shifter, so repitch, and we're going to drop this an octave. So I'm going to shift this down -12, which sounds pretty ridiculous, but if I increase the format shift up an octave, so to counteract how deep that's going.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
So what we can do now is we can blend that in.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades, so give me control and I will show you how to play.
Right. So it's sounding pretty close to what the vocoder I used in this song is like. Now I'm going to add ReQ, which is the stock EQ plugin in Reaper. And one of the things I'm going to do is right now you can hear a lot of breathiness from the original vocal. That's not very common in vocoders because they tend to actually be like subtractive synths filtering out some of the high end. So I'm actually going to just drag a high shelf down to make a high cut filter here. Same thing at the bottom. I don't want too much down here, so we'll see where it sounds good.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
All right, and now I'm going to do kind of an aggressive middle cut just to try and get it to sound a little bit more synthetic.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
And then maybe a little boost around here.
Behind those mirror shades, so give me control and I will show you how to play. The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Yeah, maybe around 5K, you know, just these are pretty pretty aggressive EQ and just a little bump up here to try and get it to sit in the mix a little bit better and to sound a little bit more like that authentic sound. I might actually even increase the distortion a bit.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades. So give me control and I will show you.
Sounds pretty good. I'm going to pull out a little bit of the low mids to this. It's just a little strong. So I'm setting a low shelf to 500 hertz and I'll just pull out a bit.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology.
I don't even know if I needed that. All right, so let's hear it in the track.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades. So give me control and I will show you how to play. The overdrive, the way it sets me free.
Pretty cool. I actually think it needs less of those high frequencies because it's adding kind of a breathiness to it that, you know, you just don't hear on like an analog vocoder.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades. So give me control and I will show you how to play. The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife.
That's pretty convincing to me for it being a delay plugin and not a synth process whatsoever. There's no true vocoding going on. It's just taking advantage of the precedence effect and making something cool. Now, of course, you could always use whatever kind of, you know, vocoder plugins or analog vocoder you have. But one of the advantages of doing it this way is I can actually kind of control some stuff. So if I bring the feedback down, we're going to get less of this frequency fed into the vocoder.
The overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid.
Kind of cleaned it up a little bit.
Shades, so give me control.
And I can even boost the volume, but get rid of some of that
The
extra echoiness from it.
overdrive, the way it sets me free. The nightlife and the violent technology. You are afraid behind those mirror shades. So give me control and I will show you how to play.
I think that's pretty spot on from the original track where I used a real vocoder to this where it's just a delay plugin. So that's how you turn a delay plugin into a vocoder. Please like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more tutorials like this, and I'll see you in the next video.